Of all the children Jack Frost encountered, he appeared to have a deep connection with one boy by the name of Jamie. Somehow, someway, they are drawn to each other, and today I want to understand this bond. Hello, I'm Isaac from Monso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people. On my channel, I focus on spreading magic by examining Disney and sometimes DreamWorks films, so if you are new here, consider subscribing. You know, Rise of the Guardians isn't necessarily a Christmas movie, but it does have the North Pole, Santa Claus, magic, and snow, so if you look at it like that, it kind of feels like one, which is why I'm wearing the Santa hat today. But we're not talking about North today. No, instead we're diving again into Jack Frost, for he is the most intertwined with the rest of the characters and has one of the most interesting backstories in this world. I'm fascinated with Jack Frost, which is why I really wanted to dive into his connection with Jamie today.
We'll always be there, Jamie. And now, we'll always be here.
When Jack Frost first encounters Jamie Bennett, he's intrigued by the boy right away by what he was reading, how he talked about the Guardians of Childhood, and his ability to find joy in the experiences Jack provided to him. Later on, we see that Jamie is the first child, other than Jamie's own innocent and young sister, to see and interact with Jack Frost for the first time in his entire existence as a mystical being. And at the end of the story, we discover that Jamie is the last light who keeps all hope, belief, and happiness alive. While Jack Frost is proclaimed by both the Man in the Moon and Pitch Black as a unique being who will be able to shape the fate of the world with his abilities, Jamie is a child who appears to be special in his own right as he is drawn to the magic of the world, and Jack Frost more than any other. That's why when they are brought together, their strength combined is able to thwart all of the nightmares and darkness that come their way. Fun and hope are preserved. Jack even mentions that he lives within Jamie, as all of the Guardians do once they work together. Jamie and Jack are never going to be alone again, as they both exist in each other's hearts. They won't ever have to live in fear because they are connected. But why are these two drawn to one another more than any other guardian and child in the world? I believe the answers lie 300 years in the past, when Jack Frost's home of Hawthorne, otherwise known as Burress, was not even an established town yet, back to a time when Jack Frost was seen as nothing more than a typical boy. All those years ago, Jack had the ability to constantly have fun no matter who he was around, and he had a sister who we learned from William Joyce, the creator of the Guardians of Childhood stories, that she was named Flea. What's intriguing about her when it comes to Jack and Jamie is that I think she could be the link between them. I think Jack's sister Flea is the key to understanding why Jamie and Jack are connected. And to understand this thought process, we first have to understand who is Flea. Other than us knowing that she adored Jack and was saved on the fateful day where he descended into the icy water, I also think we know that Jack and her are not actually related. Now, this may seem weird since they have similar features and are so close to one another, which indicates they have likely been together for a long time, but according to the Guardian of Childhood novels and storybooks, specifically Jack Frost The End Becomes the Beginning, the people Jack is watched over by when he allows himself to be a child are not actually his birth parents. A family brings him in as their own. At first in Rise of the Guardians, it may seem that Jack Frost came from a normal life as a human boy, but we learn the journey to achieve that simple life was long and difficult, for he was not born as a boy, but as an entity of the golden age of the universe. Long, long ago, during the time where goodness and magic were everywhere, and the Man in the Moon was born, Jack Frost was created to be one of the most powerful beings in the universe, known as a nightlight. And if you like to fully understand how he was created and what made him so formidable, I'll leave a link to my video on that topic in the description. As a nightlight, Jack Frost, known as Nightlight at this time, possessed a single oath to protect a prince who you know as the Man in the Moon, until the prince reached adulthood. When the prince became an adult and Nightlight's oath had been completed though, Nightlight was the first of his kind to evade the Nightlight destiny of becoming a star and instead continues to exist within the universe. For hundreds of years, the never-aging Nightlight traveled on many adventures, met friends like the Guardians of Childhood, and kept back the forces of evil led by the terrible Pitch Black. But eventually his fate as a nightlight would be further altered, bringing him closer to the simple life we eventually see him to possess. When Nightlight kissed his Catherine, his best friend and the woman he loved, his life forever changed. Nightlight was magic from the Golden Age, while a kiss is magic derived from mankind. So when the two kissed, those two types of magic mixed and merged to make magic unlike any the universe had ever seen, which altered Nightlight's oath and changed what he was. Nightlight was on a path to a new life, and he discovered what he must become when he dreamed for the first time. When Pitch threatens the Man in the Moon and the children of Earth with a massive army of nightmares, Nightlight feels he must unlock a power within him no Nightlight had ever experienced before by dreaming. The Man in the Moon sprinkled dream sand onto his old protector's head to allow him to sleep, causing the creature to radiate light and change. Nightlight not only learns how to defeat Pitch in this dream, but is also instructed on what the next steps of his journey must be. He was told not to become a star, and instead travel to Earth to become a boy. After Nightlight awakens and assists in the fight against Pitch and his forces, the powerful entity adventures to Earth, treks through a forest, and discovers the house he had witnessed within his moon dream. In this moment, Nightlight knew that this place would be where he would create the memories that would be his compass as he inevitably would transform from a boy into a man. Nightlight then moves closer to the house, allowing the past to seemingly vanish behind him, for he believed it was time to be just a boy. He was ready to be as human as possible. No becoming invisible, no tricks, no magic. When the family finally saw him, they rushed him inside, revealing themselves to be the Ardelian family. There was the father and mother, Victor and Irina, respectively, and their two children, Jacklovich and Anna, all of which were welcoming and loving towards Nightlight. When they asked his name, though, he responded with Jack Frost. After this, he was cared for, and in return, he loved them. Jack would play with Anna and Jacklovich, do chores with them, eat with them, tell stories, play, and imagine, allowing him to build a deep, unbreakable friendship with them. There were times Jack would think about the Guardians or his lovely Catherine, but he felt he was where he was meant to be, until it all crumbled. A lot of this backstory of Jack Frost, I originally covered it in my video on how Jack Frost lost his memories, so if you'd like to understand what happened to his family and why everything that he once knew about himself disappeared, definitely go watch that video after this one. But I thought this was all important to cover again to understand how Jack connected with his family. Specifically though, I wanted to make sure you knew how he became close with Anna, because I think that is the true name of Jack's sister, Flea. I believe Anna and Flea are the same person. All of the wars that had been fought and won, the moons that had been nearly destroyed, and the Golden Age's death had all led to Jack finding and being accepted by this family, and their presence in his life shaped him forever. As the other Nightlights of the world told Jack before he came to Earth, within every boy there is a man, and in every man the memory of a boy. It was time for Jack to make the memories that would be his compass. The Ardelian family assisted in Jack Frost's complete transformation from Golden Age entity to boy, and that bond would live on within him for the rest of his existence. But I don't think that was only felt by him. I think Jack's family would also be altered and connected to him forever, and I believe that feeling was passed down from generation to generation. In my mind, Jamie Bennett and Anna Ardelian are related. You see, Jamie and Jack's sister share many distinct physical and personality similarities between them. They have round faces with brown eyes and hair, along with a small nose and fair skin, in addition to a deep trust they had in Jack Frost and their desire to have fun while experiencing the world. Both children also have mothers who share the same voice actor, which could imply that we should be able to tell that these two have similarities between them. And both Jamie and Jack's sister live within the same town, just hundreds of years apart from one another. I think all these ties between Jamie and Anna implies that Anna is Jamie's grandmother or grand aunt from long, long ago. The Rise of the Guardians director, Peter Ramsey, even believed something like this could be possible, as he has previously explained that one of his regrets was that they didn't have more screen time to flesh out elements between Jack Frost and Jamie a bit more. In his mind, there could be a bigger lineage connection between the two of them, and I think that binding factor between Jack and Jamie is Anna. In the same way that Jack Frost was forever altered by being welcomed into the Ardelian family, I think through some combination of his Golden Age magic and his influence as a child who was welcomed into the family, Jack forever changed the people who loved him as well. Everyone from his parents to Jacklovich and Anna, I think, were altered by Jack's presence and would feel connected to Jack no matter what. I don't believe Jack and Jamie were directly related, but they had a connection as a family that I think would eventually be passed down. Even though generations had passed from the time Anna and her brother Jacklovich were alive, I believe Jamie and his family, as descendants of Jack's sister or brother, continue to hold on to the bond their family had with Jack. Therefore, I think the deep mystical and unexplained ties between Jack and Jamie that brings Jack to watch over the boy and allow Jamie to see the mystical entity comes from the connection that originates with Jamie's grandmother from long ago, who was in fact the sister to Jack Frost.